Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me. This week I wanted to take a look back at the Tudor Pelagos FXD. It's been nearly 3 years since this watch was released. This is a watch that has qualities that are difficult to articulate and really needs to be seen and worn and used to be fully appreciated, in my opinion. So I want to take a look back at what it's been like after a few years in use. The original FXD MN or Marine Nationale was released in November of 2021. Earlier in that year, Tudor had announced that they were reconnecting with the Marine Nationale. This is the French Navy. Of course, Tudor has a rich history of making watches for the Marine Nationale that dates back to the 50s. Upon hearing this news, speculation about what kind of a watch might come of it immediately began, and I don't think anybody really expected what we got, which was the FXD, so named for its fixed lug bar. There's no spring bar here. The mid case is just a single titanium component that incorporates a gap through which only a pass-through strap can be used. Tudor's using a fabric hook and loop, not Velcro, strap on these, and to me it's a big part of the draw of this watch. I really love this system here, and I love the idea of a fixed lug case. To be honest with you, I thought that the FXD would have inspired more designs along these same lines since its release, but we really haven't seen that happen. A fixed lug watch is kind of a rare bird, and especially the way that it's been done here by Tudor. Omega has their Ultra Deep Planet Ocean that has a similar type design, but that watch is a bit of an outlier due to its massive size. The FXD is far more approachable and wearable in an everyday type situation. The Marine Nationale FXD was kind of weird for a few reasons. Not only for its fixed lug design, but also for its bi-directional countdown bezel, which is kind of an unusual feature on divers. This whole feature set was designed for a specific group of divers within the French Navy that navigate not all that deep through dead reckoning. So it's a niche watch built for an even more niche group of divers within the French Navy. And because of that, it has a very unique personality. It's not intimidating in any way, but it's just different enough to kind of bring its own thing to the table. And I think that's something that a lot of people identify with when they encounter one of these watches. Last year, Tudor introduced a black-on-black version of the FXD, which has a more traditional unidirectional elapsed time bezel. That watch was, of course, a nod to some of the divers used by the US Navy, the UDT, the Underwater Demolition Team, or what we now know as the Navy SEALs. They released that watch down in Florida, not too far from the Man in the Sea Museum, where the original Sea Lab is kept. That was a unique launch that involved a dive off of the panhandle of Florida, and on a personal level, that's actually what got me into diving, to be able to be there on that trip and take part in that dive with this watch. For that reason, the black-on-black FXD has always had kind of a special place in my collection since that time. The black-on-black FXD does not get the same case markings as the MN, and if you're familiar with the MN references of old, you'll know that they have the date marked on the case back. And it's the same story with the modern MN FXD, which of course launched in late 2021 with the 21 case back. That was only in production for a couple of months, so it's probably the rarest of the lot. And then every year since, it has gotten an updated case back design. Now, that initial 21 case back did inspire a little bit of FOMO, and unfortunately this has never really been an easy watch to get when just walking into an AD. That said, of all the FXD owners that I know, the collectibility of this watch is not the motivating factor here. Yes, its physical dimensions and appearance are unique. There is, in my experience, a deeper connection between this watch and its owners. And in my mind, that is what will make these watches special for future generations. In the same way that we look back on military-issued watches and we love to romanticize the stories that they tell, but these watches aren't the same kinds of tools that they were back then. And military-issued watches aren't exactly the same today as they were in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Point being, the people that own FXDs are using them in interesting ways, and this is what will end up building the lore around this watch in the long run. And it's precisely what sets it apart from a lot of other everyday tool watches and dive watches. The FXD has found a die-hard group of enthusiasts that have embraced it. In the long term, that fact is precisely why I feel that the FXD will remain a very interesting watch decades down the line. Not for its rarity or odd features, but for how it's used in the community. I can tell you firsthand that these watches are gathering some serious stories under their belts, and this is the healthy foundation of longevity that will keep these watches interesting in the eyes of generations to come. Thankfully, the more easily quantifiable features of the watch make it interesting regardless of what it's used for, so that's not really a requisite to owning this watch, but I do think that is what will cement this watch's place as an interesting watch for future generations. Looking back, I feel like the FXD has only really gotten better with age because of this. I was drawn to it when it first came out just because it was kind of a strange dive watch, and we don't see many of those these days. But owning the watch over the last few years has really deepened my appreciation for what it is and how I put it to use. It's not the versatile daily drive or tool watch that many other dive watches are. This is a more focused watch, and it is a unique experience wearing it. And because this is such a focused experience, that makes me curious about where they take it from here. We have seen other FXD models issued in collaboration with their sponsorship partners, such as the Red Bull Alinghi racing team, and most recently for the cycling race, the Giro d'Italia. It's a good foundation to build on, but I find the basic time-only configuration the most compelling personally. In fact, I think they could maybe even lean into that a bit further, perhaps by taking a page out of Zinn's book and doing an oil-filled case and a quartz movement, or something along those lines that would really push the concept a bit further out of its comfort zone. In total, the FXD is a special watch. Even more so today than when it was released. It's unique, it's practical, it's great in use, both on land and at depth. It has a way of not only telling stories, but accumulating them as well. And my hope is that this is just the beginning of the story for the FXD. I'd love to hear what you think of the FXD though. What did you think of it when it came out? Have you had a chance to go hands-on with one? I'd love to get your impressions of this slightly unusual watch. If you like the fixed lug design, what are some other fixed lug watches that you'd like? Or do you have any other brands that you would like to see utilize a fixed lug design? Let me know down in the comments below. And hey, if you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. And if you like this content, a like and a share really goes a long way. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, take care.